Let's talk about character flaws. You know those pesky little imperfections that are supposed to make our characters feel real and relatable? Except oftentimes we tend to default to the same surface level quirks and call it character development. They're clumsy, but never when it matters, and it never causes them to fail. They have trust issues, but the reason behind it is superficial, and they're willing to reveal their secrets to someone after just one or two deep conversations. They hate people, but they don't show any signs of it. They're not reclusive, not socially inept, and everyone still loves them anyway for seemingly no valid reason. Or they're concerningly toxic, controlling, and possessive, but is justified through a romantic lens. Now, your character can absolutely have these traits, but the problem is when writers use them as shortcuts for character depth rather than exploring the genuine, complex psychology causing them. Real character flaws are psychological barriers that actively sabotage your character's goals and relationships. They're not cute. They're not endearing. They make your character mess up in ways that can genuinely hurt themselves and the people around them. So in this video, we're going to break down what character flaws actually look like, why the ones you're using probably don't work, and how to write flaws that create real conflict and character growth. If you're new here, my name is Brianna, and I post videos every Sunday that help you become a better writer. I also make easy-to-use writing workbooks that help you build and outline your novel from start to finish, so if you're interested, check them out on my Etsy shop, Planner Palette Co, linked in the description below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. A real character flaw has three components. It's rooted in psychology, so it comes from a deeper fear, trauma, or misbelief about how the world works. It creates meaningful consequences, so it actively prevents your character from getting what they want or damages their relationships, and it requires genuine change. Your character can't just decide to stop being this way. They have to undergo a transformation. Now let's look at clumsiness as a flaw, because almost every character I've been reading nowadays is clumsy. Let's say our protagonist is Mara, a bounty hunter in a fantasy world who's trying to capture a notorious thief to pay off her debts. While chasing the thief through a crowded market, Mara trips over nothing and knocks over a fruit cart. She curses at herself for having two left feet, but ultimately recovers, takes a shortcut through an alley, and is able to body slam the thief to the ground. Now, this is great if you want a moment of comedic relief, but it doesn't actually create tension or complicate her character. And what's the psychological root here? Is she clumsy because she's anxious and rushing through life without being present? Does she have some sort of physical disability that makes her clumsy? Those could work. But most of the time, she's just clumsy because the author thought it was cute. It's a plot device to create slapstick moments. It's not a genuine flaw that stems from who she is as a person. And now, what are the consequences? She's mildly embarrassed, but her victory in getting the thief overshadows that. Now, if her clumsiness caused her to lose the thief, that could be something substantial, but only if it truly challenges her ability to achieve her goal or forces her to confront something painful about herself. So let's look at 4 different types of flaws that you can use to help make your characters come alive on the page. The first flaw type are flaws that sabotage goals. Real flaws don't just create minor inconveniences, they sabotage what your character wants most. So let's say Mara's actual flaw is an obsessive need for control. In a weak example, Mara likes to have a plan before going into dangerous situations. She's organized and strategic, and this is portrayed as a good thing that makes her a skilled bounty hunter. But this isn't a flaw, this is just being a professional. We need to go deeper than that. So a stronger example could be that Mara refuses to work with anyone because she can't control what they'll do. When a local guild offers her backup to catch the thief, she turns them down. Not because she doesn't need help, but because she can't guarantee that they'll follow her exact instructions. When the thief escapes into territory she's unfamiliar with, she freezes rather than improvising, because operating without complete information feels like walking off a cliff. Her need for control means she'd rather fail alone than succeed with variables she can't manage. Now, the psychological root here would be that Mara grew up in chaos. Perhaps her parents were addicts, or she survived a war where randomness determined who lived and died. She internalized the belief that if she just controls enough variables, she can prevent disaster. And that's a misbelief that will actively prevent her from succeeding because bounty hunting is inherently unpredictable. The consequences now are real. She's failing at the one thing she needs to do to get out of debt, and she's doing it alone when allies could help her succeed. The change required now is genuine as well. She has to learn that some things can't be controlled and that trusting others and adapting to chaos are sometimes more valuable than maintaining control. Now, the second type of flaw you can add to your characters is a flaw that damages relationships. Some of the most compelling flaws are the ones that make your character difficult to love, even though we as the readers want to love them and see the good in them. So let's say Mara's flaw is that she only values people for what they can do for her. A weak example might say that Mara is independent and she doesn't need anyone. She works alone because she's been betrayed before and has trust issues. So when someone offers to help, she refuses simply because she knows she's strong and capable and would rather trust in that. Now, this example isn't bad necessarily, but it's trying to pass off a defensive trait as a flaw when really it's just making her look like a badass loner. And in most weak cases, the story rewards this behavior by proving she was right not to trust people. So a stronger example could be that Mara treats everyone as a transaction. In this scene, she needs information about the thief and enlists the help of a street kid. The kid gladly gives her the info, she pays him, and is about to walk away when he quietly asks if he can have a sip from the water pouch she's carrying. She asks if he has any more info she can use, but he doesn't know anything else that would be relevant to her. So she simply shrugs and walks away. Too bad for him. Then, later on in the chapter, when she's in danger and needs help, the same kid sees her. He approaches her, takes her water pouch, and walks away without helping her. Because why would he? Her flaw isn't that she doesn't trust people, it's that she's fundamentally unable to see them as anything more than tools, unable to empathize with them. The psychological root here might be that she was used by people as a child. So she internalized the belief that all relationships are transactional because that's how she grew up. If she uses people first, she can't be used herself. The consequences then are that she's isolated. She has no real allies, and when she needs genuine help, no one comes. And so the change required means that she has to risk being vulnerable and seeing people as human beings with their own worth, not just a means to her ends. The third type of character flaw is flaws that create moral conflict. And these are the ones that force your character to make difficult moral choices. So let's say Mara's flaw is that she believes the ends always justifies the means. A weak example might say that Mara is willing to do whatever it takes to catch the thief, which mostly means that she's tough and determined. She bends a few rules, but nothing too serious, so the narrative ends up presenting this as resourcefulness rather than a true flaw. It's just moral flexibility that the story rewards. In a stronger example, maybe Mara discovers that the thief has a younger sister who's sick and needs expensive medicine. That's why he's stealing. Mara knows that if she turns him in, his sister will die. But she also knows that if she doesn't turn him in, she won't get paid and she'll lose everything. Her flaw, that the end justifies the means, tells her the choice is simple. Her life and paying off her debts is more important than saving the sister's life. This doesn't make her a villain, she's just someone who's convinced herself that survival requires ruthlessness. So the psychological root here might be that Mara grew up in a world where kindness was punished and ruthlessness was rewarded. She learned early that you can't afford to care about everyone, so she stopped caring about anyone. The consequences are that she becomes the kind of person she once hated, and the change required is a complete moral reckoning. She has to decide what kind of person she wants to be, even when being good costs her everything. And the fourth flaw type is flaws that reveal hypocrisy. Some of the most human flaws are the ones where your character's actions contradict their stated beliefs. Let's say Mara prides herself on her honesty, but constantly lies to herself. A weak example could say that Mara is brutally honest and tells everyone exactly what she thinks. People find her refreshing because she doesn't play games. Occasionally, she hurts someone's feelings, but she's just keeping it real. This type of character is one who says, "I'm brutally honest," when really they're just kind of rude, and the story treats it as a virtue. Her honesty never really backfires on her. So a stronger example could be that Mara tells everyone she's only hunting this thief for the money. She doesn't care about justice, doesn't care about right or wrong, it's just a job. But throughout the story, she makes choices that contradict this. She goes out of her way to help people who can't pay her, she risks her own safety to protect innocent bystanders, and when confronted about this, she gets angry and defensive. The psychological root here is that Mara wants to believe she's become hard and mercenary because if she admits that she still cares, then she also has to acknowledge how much she's been hurt by a world that punished her for caring. Her cynicism is armor. The consequences are that she's lying to herself about who she is, which means that she can't actually grow or heal. She's stuck in this defensive crouch, pushing away the very things that might save her. So then the change required is that she has to admit the truth. She's not the heartless mercenary she pretends to be. She has to own her compassion and stop treating it like a weakness. And when she finally does that, that's when real doors of opportunity open up for her. So now that you have some flaw types you can play around with, how do you move beyond clumsiness and surface level trust issues to create flaws that actually matter to your story? The first step is to start with fear, not behavior. Don't ask, what annoying habit does my character have? But instead ask, what is my character afraid of? Is Mara afraid of being powerless, being abandoned, being ordinary, being evil? That fear becomes the root of her flaw. Step 2 is to identify the misbelief. What has your character convinced themselves is true as a way of coping with that fear? If Mara's afraid of being powerless, maybe she believes that she can only rely on herself. If she's afraid of being abandoned, maybe she believes that people will always leave, so she always leaves first. If she's afraid of being ordinary, maybe she believes that she has to be the best, otherwise she's nothing. Step 3 is to show how the flaw sabotages them. How does this misbelief actively prevent your character from getting what they want or being happy? If Mara believes she can only rely on herself, she pushes away potential allies and tries to do everything alone, which makes her weaker, not stronger. The very thing she's doing to protect herself is destroying her ability to achieve her goal. Step 4 is to make the flaw hurt other people, not just your character. Flaws aren't just internal struggles, they have external consequences. If Mara's flaw only hurts her, we might feel sorry for her, but we won't feel the full weight of it. Show how her control issues makes her team walk away. Show how her transactional relationships leaves people feeling used and bitter and underappreciated. Show how her ruthlessness destroys lives and creates unnecessary enemies. And then step 5 is to earn the change. Your character can't just wake up one day and decide to be different. They need to hit rock bottom. They need to lose something that matters because of their flaw. They need to have a moment of painful self-awareness where they can't deny the truth anymore. Mara can't just decide to trust people. She has to lose everything trying to do it alone first. She doesn't just decide to value people for who they are, she has to face the emptiness of her transactional relationships. Real inner change is expensive. Okay, so now you have a framework you can follow when deciding what flaws your character should have. But before we wrap up, let's talk about a few traps that writers tend to fall into. The first trap is confusing flaws with trauma responses. Having trust issues because of a past betrayal isn't a flaw, it's a trauma response. And it can be pretty reasonable depending on the context of the betrayal. A flaw is when that reasonable trauma response becomes maladaptive and starts hurting you more than protecting you. The second trap is making flaws that are secretly strengths. These could be traits like she's too loyal or he cares too much. If your character's flaw is just a virtue that's taken slightly too far in a way that makes them seem even more admirable, it's not a real flaw. Real flaws make your characters genuinely difficult or even unlikable in moments. And the third trap is never letting the flaw win. If your character's flaw never actually causes them to fail in some significant way, it's not doing its job. Flaws should make your character lose something that matters. A relationship, an opportunity, their self-respect. Otherwise, why should they bother changing? Look, writing deep, meaningful characters is hard. It requires you to get uncomfortable and explore the messy, contradictory, hypocritical parts of human nature. But if you want your readers to feel something real or even see themselves in your characters and maybe learn something about their own flaws, you have to go deeper. So take a look at your character. What's their flaw? Is it rooted in a psychological fear or misbelief? Does it actively sabotage their goals and relationships? Does it require genuine change? If the answer to any of those questions is no, you've got some work to do. But trust me, it'll be worth it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, you might want to watch this one next. And tell me, what's a character flaw you've struggled to write in a way that feels real and not surface level? Until the next chapter.